As box office totals continue to fluctuate post-pandemic, Hollywood is doing all it can to retain as much of their revenue generated from their entertainment content as possible. And with that struggle, one new method has emerged that has a certain group of content creators very much concerned. Let's talk about Warner Bros. Discovery conducting backdoor deals with YouTube to siphon ad revenue created from AI-generated trailers, here on That Park Place.
I don't know if you guys have seen this story out of Deadline. Deadline is saying that Warner Brothers is now going to take ad revenue from all of these weird fake movie trailers that are on YouTube. Inside YouTube's weird world of fake movie trailers and how studios are secretly cashing in on the AI-fueled videos. Exclusive, David Corenswet's Superman lies on the ground, an open wound on his chest wells with blood, cut to Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor watching on and Millie Alcock's Supergirl levitating into view. They are not from here, Luthor intones in an ominous voiceover, and they will never be. Cue thunderous music, the DC logo, and an aerial shot of the Daily Planet. Your new Superman trailer just dropped, except this montage is all fake. It is the creation of a machine that can reassemble the Man of Steel in dazzling detail, but will never understand the human world that makes him so enduring. The trailer, which Frankensteins together fleeting AI shots with legitimate footage from the Superman trailer released in December, is one of countless bogus movie teasers to have flooded YouTube in recent years. Do you ever fall for any of these, by the way, guys?
No,
Every now and then we do. Looking around.
I'll say this, my friend was like adamant. She was adamant, very adamant that they were making an Atlantis movie that was going to be coming out this year. I mean, I was like, an Atlantis live action movie, that is. If you guys have seen that, definitely seek it out because it's really, really good. I'm not sure how much of it is AI versus real and how much of that is comp and everything like that, but it looks very, very impressive. And to the point where she was very, I mean, it was happening. And I had to tell her, like, trust me, if it was happening, I would know, I would tell you, and it ain't going to happen right there. We obviously found out the origins of that trailer. So to some people, these can be very, very convincing.
I agree. There was a Henry Cavill James Bond trailer that had me just, it was teaser style, not full trailer style, where they're starting with establishing shots, they're starting with voiceover. Maybe it was the Judi Dench voiceover, and it was aged a little bit. And then finally, when Henry Cavill shows up, it's like, okay, well, that's not quite what Henry Cavill looks like, or from one shot to the next, it's not quite consistent. I know it's silly to even fall for some of these.
Yeah, it looks more like him than the mustache CGI did.
Man, I think that's going to be the interesting thing, watching filmmakers go back and actually change films using AI. Like, there's a couple of things here and there, like Tron Legacy. I wouldn't mind if they did a second pass on Clue, on Tron Legacy, a film that otherwise I love. But let's continue reading. Most industry observers will recognize the pungent whiff of AI that YouTube's algorithm lifts under the nose, but for some, the movie commercials can be indiscernible from the real deal. Even French national television was duped by a fake AI Superman trailer last year, showing clips of a besooted Corenswet months before any official footage had been released. Director James Gunn made his feelings pretty clear, posting 3 puking emojis alongside the France television's clip. Sorry, I forgot the accent aigus there. He may be surprised to learn then that Warner Brothers Discovery is quietly cashing in on some knockoff videos. Should we play it, or no? This isn't one to play. This is just a picture from it. Let's see, Superman Real. James Gunn in Salles, I guess that's cinemas over there, 9th of July, 2025. Thank you. Here, you come for the really interesting watching some guy on the internet stumble through translating French on this channel. But the costume's kind of a cross between the Corenswet costume and the Christopher Reeve's costume. Obviously, the collar's a little higher, but it doesn't have some of those armor elements that are on, which who knows how that's actually going to turn out in the final film. But I'm shocked that this would be run on French TV.
Yeah, it's very obviously not real. That's very obviously animated. I don't. Maybe they tried to resist the urge to run with it, but then they surrendered.
It's odd.
Some probably executive said, "Oh, this is it. This is the one," and didn't actually do their due diligence, I guess. It's very strange how this actually makes it on French public airways, but Chocolat Bleu. That's a little bit of a weird one, but we are seeing the proliferation of these type of AI generated videos, and so I mean, there's a really big question about what is fair use and what is generated and what can be claimed and how ad revenue can be generated. And I believe a lot of the TOS associated with these AI tools is that you can't necessarily use them for I would guess monetary generation purposes like this. So there's always like this big question. I remember there was a Supreme Court case a bit ago about photography versus artistry, right? The idea was, okay, can a photographer claim a photo and claim copyright on it in a similar manner that a painter can with a portrait? And the Supreme Court, I guess, came to the decision that, well, of course, yes, it's a tool in which you can present or make art just like the paintbrush and the canvas. So yeah, you can actually claim copyright on that. The question I think going forward is, how does it all fare with the use of generative AI, given that it's so representative of art that came before it?
You know, it's interesting. That reminds me of the case of the monkey that picked up the camera. Do you know this case where they had to prove in court whether or not the monkey was actually capable of holding copyright, or whether or not the owner of the camera technically had the copyright on this? And in the end, just like the photons and force fields episode of Voyager, well, actually the opposite of that, because in that one they determined the doctor was added to the definition of person, which is ridiculous. But the monkey was determined to not be capable of holding copyright. Now, someone who is joining the panel that is capable of holding copyright, but also has been AI generated in the past on some occasions. Please welcome Mr. Culture Casino. Welcome to the show.
Good day, gentlemen. Yes, I have been altered before, but now I'm here in my flesh, so we should be good for the rest of the day. Speaking of copyright, I find this fascinating because it ventures into a different area when it comes into AI. I'm glad I tuned in when I did and realized you were all live. And I have to say that this New York Times case is going to be something that clears the decks for AI as far as IP and copyright control. Obviously the reference point that I came in on was the Superman thing, which when you generate something with AI like that, nobody's capable of holding or controlling the copyright. No way.
But instead,
it's just like the monkey. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. And let me make sure this is clearly stated for the audience here. Instead of enforcing copyright on counterfeit commercials, Deadline can reveal that a handful of Hollywood studios are asking YouTube to ensure that the ad revenue made from views flows in their direction. Quite why they are doing this is a mystery. All majors approached by Deadline declined to comment, but it raises questions about their willingness to take cash for content that exploits their IP and talent at a time when there is an existential crisis about how copyright collides with AI. Actors Union SAG-AFTRA describes our revelation as a race to the bottom. I also would wonder who gets credit here, because Corin Sweat didn't appear in that commercial, but his image did, and his image rights are being violated by that commercial. But if no one is making money, or just some guy on YouTube is making money, I don't think anyone would care, with exceptions.
The guy that took the time to create the content might.
Right. But the studio making money, all of a sudden you've made this official in a way that, like when YouTube was bought by Google back in the day, all of a sudden the lawsuits all came out of the woodwork real fast. Like all of a sudden, oh, okay, you've got Google money behind you. Then we would like for you to stop all these lip sync videos and pay up. So
Yeah.
I think if go ahead.
No. Please finish. I'm sorry.
I think if a studio like Warner Brothers is making a dime off of this, that enters into a question about, okay, well, how many movies does this hit? And who is getting paid for that? And how many nickels on each view, on each million view are going to David Corenswet, John Williams, James Gunn, the people who are attached to this movie? This is something that will change the way that, well, SAG-AFTRA considers their negotiations.
I suspect it'll be put to an end sooner rather than later. See, my view is once this New York Times suit goes, which was approved fully yesterday, the judge refused to dismiss it against OpenAI. So if this happens, and in literature, art, all these other elements that have been sampled by these large language models in whatever way they're being done, my thought behind that is, well, it's going to shut down this type of thing. The problem is how far out of the box are these large language models? I mean, I can go out and get one right now and download it and have my own AI for my own purposes, and I have done so. But the thing is you have all these ever evolving models and these ever evolving technologies behind them. And if the Times it does win their case, every other piece of literature that's ever been sampled, you will no longer be able to utilize those AIs because they're built on them. They're built on our IP. They're built on our voices. They're built on Charles Dickens. They're built on all these different things that have a certain amount of control, by the publishers or whoever it is. So I think the New York Times would be out to get theirs. Right. So, are they going to put the onus on the AI companies to track everywhere that this particular, answer came from and give everybody their appropriate amount of money for using it? See, this is going to be a nightmare that I don't know that they can unravel. So, but it'll be interesting how the Supreme Court eventually looks at this, because it'll be fascinating to me.
There's another aspect to this of where does this intersect with parody law? Like this trailer for Titanic 2, Jack's back. I think the parody considerations will also be interesting, because if in the songwriting business, if you do a parody, I think it's like 9 cents is the standard rate, because some court case got resolved by saying it was like 9 cents per use or something like that, or some percentage of use. So like, what's his name? Weird Al Yankovic does not have to ask for permission to do a parody of someone's song, but he does.
Because I'm fat, you know it.
Right, as long as it's just one song that he's doing a parody of, and then you get songs like that.
Did he always? Because I heard Coolio like really got mad about Amish Paradise.
Well, Coolio's people approved it, but Coolio himself didn't approve it. So that's where that one got complicated. I mean, he didn't ask for Queen's permission before doing Another One Rides the Bus. I don't know how big he got before he actually started asking for permission, but the Weird Al is big enough that people would say yes. I think if everyone in the world said, "Who are you?" No, he might change his policy on that. But looking at things like this, I think this is only going to get more complicated as time goes on. Anyways, really wanted to point out the AI situation online, see if anyone cares in our audience. Some people care very strongly. I care about AI animation, one, because there's no artistry to it just yet. It's an interesting animation of what reality. Sorry, and when I say reality, I obviously don't mean reality. It's animation. It's an interesting animation of what real artistry looks like. Kind of hate it.
Hey, it's just like taking a nice piece of animation and making it live action and destroying it in the process. So there you are.
Yeah. I will say this: AI would have done a better job of Snow White than the Disney company did. So we've obviously got the Power Rangers reboot video that's going to be coming out sometime soon on this channel. And I was thinking to myself, well, there were people who are hopeful about Disney doing well with the Power Rangers. I think Five Fires was talking about that on his live stream last night. And then I thought, well, if Disney can't get Snow White right, what makes us there he is. What makes us think that they will get Power Rangers right.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.